youtube.com/simracecheck.
Oh, hi there you guys. I'm just going to park this for 2 seconds. Yeah. Alright. Hi, and welcome to Sim Racing Tech on this really cold Saturday in Denmark, where there's really nothing much better to do than do some sim racing or making some sim racing tech videos. Well, today we're going to be looking at some freeware from a buddy of mine. It's Alex over at SimUtils, and he makes this wonderful telemetry software where you can have your friends, so you can watch your own data. It's really perfect for when you're racing on a team and you want to help each other with all the data analysis. So we're going to take a look at that. Yeah, really cool stuff. So the first thing that you'll want to do is to go to the SimUtils website. That's www.simutils.dk, and you want to go to and you want to get the part of this solution that logs the data and makes it available for the race manager. That's the data. So we want to click that link, and it downloads a small file. You can click on it. It's just a simple setup file. This is I should mention, this is a .NET program. You have to have the Microsoft.NET interface, and it'll tell you, if you don't have it, it'll tell you to get that interface and how to set it up, and you just need to run through all these wizards and installers. And what you'll end up with when you've done all that is the SimUtils Race Manager looking, or a data logger looking like this. It tells you which port it's running on, which internet network port it's communicating on. This is all done via network, so you can access the data logger through the internet, through any kind of network. And this is the port that it's running on. It'll tell you for port forwarding purposes what your local IP address is too. So when you confirm this is okay, actually always just leave it at port 9999. All you need to do is press the minimize, and that'll hide the program. Then you need to get the race manager. Same procedure, simple setup program. You click it, you click run. Every time it runs, or you go through all this installation procedures, and every time you run the program from then, it'll check if there's a new version, and if there is, it'll download that version. The race manager startup screen here is, or startup window here is split into two sections. The upper section is a timing source section that tells you where to get the timing data from. This is if you're running a SimUtils enabled server. You can get lap times and scoring from the server into the race manager. We're not, so we're just gonna uncheck this enable timing, and we're going to check that as I'm going to be getting data from my computer, I'll leave a local host in here, or we can type in the IP address 127.0.0.1. This is the same. This is always the IP address of the local machine, and we're checking that I'm running on port 9999. So bottom part here is telemetry hookup. Upper part here is for timing and scoring. As we don't need the upper part here, we're not doing timing and scoring now, we just need down here to fill in the correct IP address and the port number. If I was one of your buddies and wanted to connect up to see data from your computer via the internet, you would have to forward this port 9999 to your local machine, get your internet IP, which is actually pretty easy, because if you need help port forwarding, you can go into portforward.com, and on the page portforward.com it says your external IP address, and this is the IP address your buddy is supposed to put into the SimUtils Race Manager when he has that installed and wants to connect up to your computer. But we are connecting up to your local computer here, so just leave either localhost or 127.0.0.1. Push the telemetry and track button that starts up the program, and what we get is this. This is the SimUtils telemetry program. Over here on the right we have lap times, session, timing and scoring. We're not using that. Down under here we have events from the server, and this also only works if you have a SimUtils enabled server. On the left here we got data for your car. This is all your temperatures, things you need to be aware of when you're racing, throttle position, fuel, indicators, We've got some analysis tips over here. We've got tire data. Right now, as I'm in a session, we have data here, and we have the last lap averages over here on the right. This is for front left, front right, rear left, rear right, of course. This is to help you set the correct tire pressure and the correct camber angles, so you can see the correct temperature difference from inside to outside temperature here. And what we also have are brake temperature indicators in the same format. So we have the current temperature, and we have the last lap averages, and this is also to set your brake ducts properly. If you know what your optimum brake disc temperature is, you can set that to hit as close to that as possible. And we got a third tab here with engine details, and what you need to do to make this run correctly. I'm going to shut this one down, and I'm going to start from the basics. You need to open up an engine file. This is inside your GTR2 folder. So what you want to do is to go to your GTR2 install. I have a whole disk here with just GTR2 installs, and I want to go into one of those, find the game data folder. I want to go to teams, because that's where all the cars are, and in this case I want to go to the GTR24H LMP folder, and I want to find a Pescarolo 01 car. In here there's an engine file, and I can find it by finding file that ends on .eng. If we want to look at what that file contains, we can open it in a notepad, and I can show you here what it says. It's got some RPM, engine braking torque, and output torque of the engine file here. Has a lot of other specifications down here. And when I open that file here, I'm going to double click it just here, you can see this provides a nice brake horsepower curve, and behind this, the undotted curve here is the power curve. And you can see here that the RPM where it puts out the maximum power is 7,500, so I want to stay close to that when I'm shifting gears. And it has a maximum torque of 667 Newton meters at 6,750 RPM. So that's where the engine is most willing to gain RPM. It also has temperatures that you're supposed to be aware of. This is the optimum oil temperature and a lifetime engine oil temperature. If you get above this lifetime engine oil temperature, this is when the engine will start to smoke, and it will just degrade rapidly if you go above that. So you want to stay as close to 100 and never go over 105. And also here, important here, is the engine lifetime RPM. As you can see, this is 6,600 RPM, but the maximum power output is way above that. So if you want to get maximum power, you're going to have to sacrifice engine lifetime to get it. And the way it's set up right now is this is set up for a 24-hour race, so you have 2 hours of extra engine lifetime you can sacrifice for getting more brake horsepower. The rest of this over here on the right is the running stats of the engine as you're running it now. What was your maximum RPM? What is the maximum oil temperature? What is the engine wear percentage? And you want to keep that engine wear percentage in this car to around 130%, I think it is. Down here under that we can just make this a little bit bigger, we have the engine wear indicator. This is a number that keeps increasing every time you wear the engine. So it reaches a certain max, and then you have 100% wear on your engine, and it will blow out. So you need to test this. You need to make the engine blow out to see how high this number gets when the engine blows out. Otherwise you won't have any proper indicator. So this is another reason for testing your car and testing how much damage it can take. So back again to the overview where we got the actual oil temperature and water temperature. And you want to keep an eye on those, and remember from the engine tab that it must not go over 105, and we're well below here, so everything's okay. There's also, if you're on a track that has a track map, you can click on this track view, and what you will get is a window like this one. On the left here you'll have a map of the track with the cars running around on the track. You need a server that's SimUtils enabled to this, and you need track maps for that particular track for this to work. But you'll have a track map here, a live track map, and live timing on the right here. If you're a TV producer and you're broadcasting your sim racing through something like what I'm using here, the Open Broadcaster software, you can use this TV overlay, and what you get is a TV overlay like this. You can see what time it is, and on your left here there will be timing and positions for cars, events, and extra stuff to help you make your broadcasting really cool. So that's about all that the telemetry software here does, and it's actually a pretty great program, and the especially great thing about it is of course that you can connect this over the internet, so you can have your friend in Hong Kong or anywhere in the world help you when you're racing, and he can look at your telemetry and tell you if you're about to blow out a tire or if your engine's running hot or stuff like that. It's really, really helpful. Also, of course, there's the events coming out. If you have a SimUtils enabled server, and he'll be able to tell you when other cars pit and plan a little strategy out of that. So basically, this is all the information you will ever need when you're inside a race session. So I strongly recommend using this software. I think right now it's only running with GTR 2, but I know that Alex from SimUtils is planning to fan out and make it available for more sims. So great tool. Well, if you like what I've been telling you here, you should subscribe to the Sim Racing Tech YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button wherever it is. So that's it for this time. If you like what I've been telling you now, you should subscribe to the Sim Racing Tech subscription button wherever that is these days. And there's of course down in the corner over here, I think, there's a like button. And if you like this subject and want to see more videos on the subject, you should click the like button, and I'll make more videos for you. If you have any questions or anything you want to get in contact with me, you can write to me at simracetech at gmail.com. You can of course always leave a comment below the video here, and I'll answer that as fast as I can get to it. Well, have a nice weekend, and have some really great sim racing. See you next time.
YouTube.com/SimRaceCheck.